Larsson here. Larsson, oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson, and Montage! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. My name is Ryan Clifford and joining me on this episode is my good man Shaun. Well Shaun, our playoff opponents have now been confirmed as FC Karat. I'm sure I've got that properly right, from Kazakhstan. Some rumours kicking about now on terms of the transfer front. Brendan's hopeful we'll get one or maybe one in potential, hopefully, if we can before the playoff game. If not, it'll be the end of the window, as we all know, mate. That's what it has been in the last few years. We've obviously got our work done at the end of the window, whether we like it or not. That is the way it's been happening, mate. But how are you, mate? Sun's shining, and obviously the game tomorrow, mate. You're looking forward to getting back into Celtic Park tomorrow, mate, and you're looking forward to the playoff game as well, mate.
Hi, good to see you, Ryan. Thanks for having me back on. Good evening to everybody watching. Good tie, mate. First tie at home. Obviously, it's a bit of a trek for the away fans, but we'll still turn up in our numbers and hopefully get the job done at Parkhead, and we can relax there. And a few fans can just get their feet up and get a suntan. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow's match, mate. Late kick-off. It's a good weather. It'll be a good turnout. Be good to see some of the players that haven't started at the first couple of games of the season, see if they get a run out. And transfer news and anything transfer, mate, I'm happy to hear it and welcome it, because it's about time we got some fresh faces in the door.
As indeed, we'll get some of the comments. Good man Alan Sterling says, good evening, boys and girls. A good man JP, sorry couldn't be with us. Yep, JP's at car trouble, like yourself, Shaun was talking before we come on, mate. So it's not ideal. Celtic follow even troops. Anyone think we will fill two places with the new signings before the playoff? We will touch on that. Definitely. G-Doc, he's in as well. Evening, boys. Evening. Hope you're well. My good man, Phil Isaac. Good job, he says. Thanks a lot. Hope you're all right. Martin Flanagan says, evening, lads. Hope you're all well. Looking forward to the game tomorrow night. Get that one on to midweek and hopefully going to run like Jockstein. Already done. Hail, hail. It would be good, Martin. It would be good to get to our big European final. That would definitely be good. Our good man, Nick Connolly's back in with us. Evening, guys. Evening, Nick. Hope you're well. John W67, he says, evening lads, hello, hope you're well. And Josh Looking says, hail, hail. Well, we could just touch on right away, Shaun, on the question there from Celtic follower. Evening guys, obviously, do you think we will get any new signings, before the playoff, mate? Do you think that could be a goer, Shaun, or do you think it could be maybe a race against time now?
The longer it's went on, mate, I feel like, it looks like it's a decision that's been made based on whether or not we get into, Champions League. That's what it's looking like, mate. I would like to see some new faces come in before, this game. But I just can't see it happening. I watched Rodgers' presser earlier on, and it's the same stuff. He's hopeful that we'll get it done. The thing that's reassuring me, mate, is like Rodgers doesn't seem like he's panicking or anything like that. So I try to go off what the manager's saying and don't read too much into it. Is he wearing a tie? Is he not wearing a tie? So I just really, that's where I kind of make my judgment. I agree with the listener there that he's, getting 2 people in before the window closes. I would like to see that get done. But if it happens later than that, I think we've got a strong enough squad as it is, mate. But definitely we need to be strengthened in the forward areas, which everybody knows by now.
I think ideally you want ideally somebody in. I would like to think, Sean, to if possible in the forward areas, the wing and obviously striker position. Is that your prominent position as well, mate? Like myself, or majority of the fan base and the manager is that forward area. Obviously, when it looks at midfield, looks okay at the moment. Defensively wise, we're no in any major hurry, I would say. Obviously, after signing Puzet from Man City, I was going to say Man United there. But what's your thoughts on that, mate? Is that the same as you? That's the kind of area of the field that probably needs a bit of surgery at the moment?
Aye, I do, mate. It's the elephant in the room at the moment. It's that forward line. It needs reinforcement, Ryan. It's I think the Celtics team is strong. I would definitely say there's areas on that park, back to middle, that's stronger than last year. I do think we're stronger, but we're definitely weaker up top. Because I think, I personally would like to see Maeda go through the middle.
Yeah.
I think I've been a big campaigner, Idah. He's come up with some big moments for Celtic. Big penalties he scored and all last season. Hibs away. So he stepped up when Celtic have needed it. Even against them in the cup final, he stepped up a high pressure penalty. So he has come up with big moments for Celtic, but just right now I watched the Aberdeen game and I was like, I really want to give the guy as much a chance as possible, and I'm really rooting for him. But that Aberdeen game, I just thought he was really poor, and I think the only thing that's preventing him from being, moved onto the sideline and Maeda through the middle is the fact that we've not got anybody on the left to put there if Maeda goes through the middle. We're really, really light on the wings, mate, in the forward wings. Forrest will come in, do a job for you. He looked really good against Aberdeen. I thought he was neat and tidy and, and direct, and thought he had a really good game. But just up the top end, mate, we really need to strengthen, and I think we will. I really do think we will, Ryan. It's not something I'm going to get like up in arms about and start calling for this and calling for that and shouting at the board. I do put faith in this Celtic board and the Celtic manager to get that done. But when is it going to be done? That's the question.
I think you're right, mate. I think it's obviously on the banner to start the pod, wide awake. That's probably my thing is wide awake. Why are you having to wait till this playoff? Obviously, for me, Sean, don't you feel? But for me, pre-season and your transfers builds towards start the season and this game, because I think, I don't know what any of the viewers think on this or the commenters. You can answer this as well. What your opinions is, and me and Sean can answer. Is for me, Sean, I think it's you don't want any risk involved. You don't want any gamble involved. I know that the team might not be great that we're playing against, but that is European football. It is a long trek to Kazakhstan. If we don't get the job done maybe in the first leg, you then maybe have to battle in the second leg to try and either chase the game or keep that as solid as you can in the second leg. So ideally, you'd want a bit of depth in the squad in terms of going forward in the front areas and the wing areas. So that's my frustration, mate, that I don't know if we're fully prepared for that as it stands, but we should be able enough to get this tie done, mate, with the team we have. But for me, that's not the way I want to look at it. But ideally, mate, as you say, we want players in before that game. But I think we are where we are now, mate. And if you look at the guys who are here at the moment, no matter if we don't get anybody or not, we should be able to get this tie done, mate, in 2 legs. If we don't, then I think we can both agree here, mate, that if we can't beat the team for Kazakhstan, no matter where they are in the league, whether they're top or not, we probably don't deserve to win the competition, mate.
I completely agree with you, Ryan. And, you know, you've got to look at the players that are on this. Like, you know, these are guys. I spoke in depth for this with Barry as well, and you know, he made the point that these are guys with ambition. You know, that want to. It's maybe some of them there see their career, you know, out with Celtic at a higher level, which is fair enough because you know they're professional football players. You know, they want to play at the highest level. But if they can't go and beat Kazakhstan over 2 legs, but if they're playing Kazakhstan, sorry, and beat this mob over 2 legs, then, you know, where do they see themselves? You know, they're saying they want to play at the highest level. Well, there's your opportunity. Go and beat this mob and beat them comfortably over 2 legs. You know, this is what you've been brought in at Celtic today to get us playing and competing at the highest level. So, you know, there's your opportunity. Go and take it and go and make it happen. You know, so I just think this with football, anything can happen, Ryan. You know that yourself. You know, stranger things have happened. You know, I think all of us could agree that we thought, you know, we were well onto a treble last year, just given our away performance, our performances against Aberdeen over the season. You know, but then, you know, we get beaten in the final. We won a final in penalties and we got beat one in penalties. So football's a strange thing, mate, and anything can happen. But with the quality we have got, regardless of the lack of signings, we should be home and hosed with this tie.
No, listen, I agree with you, Sean. I have been quite vocal on what I feel about the situation at the moment. I don't think it's pretty. I don't think it's ideal for the manager or for the club moving forward. But take away that, what we have in the team right now, it's guys that have played at this level before. Most of them are international players. They've had experience now in the Champions League. They've beat far better teams than this. We are in our season already, so we should be quite flying fit. We've got a game tomorrow as well. You get a good performance in that. You've got the first leg at Celtic Park. So I agree with you, mate. No matter the situation, the transfers or any negative vibes towards that we have at the moment, we should still enter this game pretty positive with the players we've got. Like you mentioned, maybe Idah isn't the man for us. Maybe now he's not on form, but he should be able to be a guy that could help us in this. Same with James Forrest. He is aging. He has only played, I actually seen that today, Sean. He's only played 290 minutes, I think, in about 2 years, which is no ideal. This is why I can understand why there's fans going, well, we've got Tilly, Yang, not really playing, Idah not out in form, Maeda, what's happening with him, and stuff like that. So I can totally understand the reason behind it. But like you've just mentioned there, Sean, these guys have been here, they have done it, they've got loads of experience of doing it, they're part of a winning squad, mate. So, like you've just said there, realistically, we should be going to Celtic Park and be full of confidence, be a full crowd. I'd imagine it could be a decent weather. Brilliant night, mate. Set up for us to go. And as Pun says, hopefully, don't underestimate them. It's still European football, but maybe go and get 3-0, mate, and try and win the tie if possible. And it gives you a cushion to maybe not have to be as full out right away when you go away for the second leg.
Aye, that's it, mate. That is it. You know, like, get this done and dusted in the first leg, and you can pretty much guarantee, you know, in the away leg that, you know, all we need to do is, you know, show up, put on a performance, you know, play our game, and we don't even need to worry about scoring, mate. You know, if the goals come, they come. But if we win 3-4-0 in the first leg, you know, the second leg pretty much takes care of itself, Ryan. You know, so that's what I would be looking for. I would be looking for us to go and, you know, put the foot right on their throat for the start, and you know, get that game tied right up before we even need to think about travelling over there. But you know, I think it was an interesting roll of the dice for Rodgers to, you know, not postpone the Livingston game. I really think that shows the character of the team and the manager. You know, to not postpone that game and say, no, you know, we'll play that and we'll play that. That's no bother for us. We'll do that. Whereas if you look across the water, they've postponed us. They've took that option. So I think that shows their card. Where they're sitting at. I think it shows the confidence in Celtic, the fact that we've decided to not take that option, and I do like that, mate. I do like that Rodgers has done that.
I know I did see rumours, Sean, that there was potential they were going back on that postponement, but I don't know if it's been confirmed. But there was rumours about they were allowed to go back on it, which I find a bit mental. If you've kind of agreed to maybe do it, then go back on it then. But I think the reason behind potentially they've went back on it, if that's the case, Sean, obviously they've got the guy, the centre back suspended. If that game didn't go ahead against us, which obviously puts in a predicament where we need to play a new signing who's not really played much. And obviously, if they do get beat off of Bruges, it's a hard game, obviously, as well. So it's one of the ones, mate. It's for us. I'm happy we've not postponed it because, like you've just said there, it keeps momentum as well. I know a few weeks ago when it first came out that it could be happening. I was like, I don't want it to happen. I was rather have momentum, get the 3 points, hopefully against Livingston. You should be comfortable. Let's be fair. I know Livy can be a stuffy team, but you should be okay at playing to play against Livingston and then going to a European game, obviously as well. We don't know how the first leg is going to go. If you do the first leg pretty comfortably, then you might be able to rest one or two of your key players against Livingston because we should have squad depth. I.e., if it's Engels on the bench, McKibben's on the bench, Bernardo, who we'll touch on later in the pod, they guys should be able to come in and contribute pretty easily, in my opinion, Sean. So I agree with you on that, mate. But on my guy said there, mate, who we did say we would touch on. I don't know what the viewers think as well. Your thoughts on Bernardo? If there's anything you think about Bernardo, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Why is he not getting game time? What is your thoughts on his state of play at the moment, Sean? Obviously, Bernardo, he's not really had a lot of game time. He got a bad injury last year. He was out for a while. He's come back into the squad now. He's not really had much game time at the moment. So, what's your thoughts on that? McKibben seems to be a bit ahead of him at the moment. So, what is your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, I really like Bernardo, Ryan. I was one of these fans that last season that was saying, go and get him, sign him. And we did, and Rodgers obviously signed off on that. So he's seen enough in him that, he wanted him still at Celtic. I do like Bernardo. He's neat, he's tidy. He's good with the ball. And he's a solid player. I think, obviously, just with the luck of the draw that he's had last season, obviously getting injured, and then missing some of the pre-season, it's kind of probably left him a wee bit behind on everybody else. But I've no doubt about it. Once he's up and running and fully fit, that he'll be one of the ones contending for to get in that team. And we got him at a good price. Me and you touched on that before we came on, mate, that he's, we did get him at a good price considering they were wanting a lot more from him. I do believe he's got a sell-on clause, but again, he's one of these boys that's still young and, still learning the Scottish game, and I think I do really like the guy, mate. I hope he gets some game time in the next coming weeks.
No, I'm the same as you, Sean. I think he's a really good player. He's neat and tidy, and I still go back to the performance against Lazio against us a few years ago, and he was brilliant that day. Was it Lazio? Sorry, was it Lazio? I think it was Lazio. Was it Lazio? It was a team in Italy. No, it was away from home, but was it Lazio we played? It was a game in Italy, and it was a game in Italy. Was it? No, last year before. Was it Lazio? I think it was Lazio. I'll need to, but it was definitely away from home. It was away from home. He was different class. I'm sure it was Lazio. I can't remember if it was, but he was different class that night. And I thought he was one of our better players that night. It's annoying me now that I'm sure it was Lazio. I can't remember, but he was different gravy that night. And I thought it was really good. And I was like, we need to sign him. This guy, he's got potential. He was a captain. Yeah, John W. Yeah. Cheers, mate. I thought it was Lazio. I thought he was really good that night. He looked really fit. He was one of our better players, I thought, in that game. And I thought, right, he's pretty decent. I would sign him. Even against Martin Flanagan says, even against Rangers, he was good. So again, I think he divides opinion, Sean. I think some guys maybe expect him to be better than he is. Some guys think he's done okay. I think for me, I'm like you, I like him. I think 3.5 million at the time, and still now for me, still a good price. Because I think if Engels was that price, or Idah, we might have not been as money about the price, but maybe the performances to a degree.
Yeah.
Some fans will say that as well, Sean. So Bernardo, I think it remains to be seen if he'll even be here by the end of the window, because if McKimmon's getting game time, Engels the game time, Negrin is here, there's rumours about maybe another midfielder coming in if that's the case. So what's that? These games. Aye, no, you're spot on in terms of the Lazio game. It's a long time ago, that game, so as obviously in present time, we don't know how he's going to fit in the plans with the manager. But McKinney seems to have started well, Sean. Again, what do you think of him? Do you think he'll play a bit more this year, or do you think he'll still be more of a squad player and he'll maybe come in when maybe the teams are tiring, or it's maybe games like tomorrow he'll come in and play a bit more? What's your thoughts on him, mate?
I really like McCowan. I think just we obviously the midfield, it's so competitive. You know and Hatati's just one of these players that you just don't want to see getting dropped.
Mhm.
He can be the difference in games. He scored an absolute screamer against Aberdeen. But it's just, I really like McCowan as well. I think McCowan's goal return for Celtic since he's been at Celtic is absolutely fantastic for a midfielder. I couldn't put he must be hitting about 7 or 8 goals for Celtic since he's came to us, at least. I think the last I checked it was like 6 last season. It's scored, which is a great return for the position he plays and the background he's come from. So I do really like McCowan, and he's got a goal in him. So I think if anybody's going to come in and take Hatati's position, it's so competitive, mate. I just don't know if Hatati goes off the boil. Then I think we've got plenty there to not be worried about. Put it that way. There's players there that are just ready and right there to come in and make their stamp on this team and really run with it. So I'm happy with what we've got in midfield. Bernardo, as I said, he's still young, still got plenty of possession, quality player. I do like him. He scored an absolute winner against Rangers.
Yeah.
Particularly, he was brilliant in that game. It's just unfortunate he's because Callum McGregor can't be moved. That's, if we all know that, he's the heartbeat of that team. He cannot be took out of that team. If he's fit and able to play, then he's in that team. So that only leaves, Hatati's position and Negrin's, who looks like he's tied that position in. He's a quality player, Ryan.
I own Negrin, mate. I like him. I do like him. I want to see more of him. Well, no, that's tomorrow. I don't know, but the games like Rangers away, the European games coming up, I think that's where you'll see kind of him maybe progress as well. Alan says, I like Bernardo. He's now arrives at a place in his career where he needs to step up and put a stamp and base a stamp on this team. What's your thoughts on that, Sean?
I do agree to an extent, but he's got 2 guys in front of him that are playing, absolutely amazing football for Celtic week in, week out consistently. So it's very hard to put him in the team when you've got Hatati and McGregor in front of you. That's the only downfall for him at the moment. He's got 2 guys in front of him that one of them, McGregor's not going to be moved, and Hatati really needs to go off the boil for somebody to come in and replace him. And you couldn't put Bernardo in a forward playing position. That's just not his game. He likes to just sit in the middle and get the ball, move it on, get into tackles and just floating and run about that area. He's not going to be making box-to-box runs. So it's so difficult, mate. Like, I'd love to see him get a run out in the team, but who do you take out to allow that to happen?
It's a headache, isn't it? And I suppose that's why the managers pay the big bucks to decide it, mate.
Good headache to have.
100%. It's a good headache because you've got a bit of squad depth there in the middle of the park. I wish we had it in other areas, but Big Rab says Bernardo is going to be needed in Europe. That's why he's in the squad. Big Rab, I agree with you. I think he's actually maybe more suited to the European side of the game, because anytime I've seen him in Europe, he's actually been pretty good. Hopefully gets a run out again, like Stephen says here. Hopefully gets a run out tomorrow. Hopefully as well. I'd hope that as well, Stephen. It would be a good game maybe to leave out McGregor as well. I know he probably won't do that, Sean, but guys like McGregor, Tierney, do they really need to play tomorrow? Maybe Tierney for his fitness, but maybe this is a game where you don't want to go too weak. You still want to be strong and win the game, because Falkirk no mugs. We've seen when they came, was it last year? I think they came and done well against us in the cup game, and they played some really good football. So, but do you think that's maybe something that Bernardo could be needed more? Obviously, domestically, you still want a guy like that having the team, but in Europe, do you think he's maybe more suited to that style of play, that type of football?
I think certainly if you're up against teams where you want to sit in, and you want to keep the ball when you do get it, because some of these teams, they're that good, just even getting the ball, is difficult. So when you do get it, you want to keep it. And Bernardo's certainly one of the players that can do that for you. Whereas Hattati's a bit more wild. He'll try and make that pass, or he'll sometimes can be out of position because he's too far forward. So in those games, you're probably right. You could put Bernardo in there, but certainly in games where you're wanting to, penetrate and get after a team, you would be having Hattati in that team. So maybe that's a good shout. Get him in there when we're in games where you need to dig in and sit deep and wait for your chances, whether it be for a set piece or a counter. Bernardo would certainly fit the mould, mate, to go in there and do that type of role. I do hope to see him tomorrow night as well. I agree with you. I think Callum McGregor won't be took out of the team purely because I've watched these cup ties before, and McGregor's always featured in them. And whether he gets took off later on or not. So, basically what they call the guy in there saying, that who do you take out to play Bernardo in that midfield three? At present, I would say nobody. So he's really going to have to either show something extraordinary in training to get into that team, or one of the players that's already in that position are going to have to really be off their game, mate, to get taken out that front three, because that middle three, because that's looking really, really a really, really solid three, mate.
In terms of obviously the game tomorrow, Sean, we could touch on that. Kenneth says basically put the first team out as much as we can. Second half, players for minutes for players and new boys. In terms of tomorrow, Sean, Stephen Kenny says he hopes Yamada starts. A few changes possibly. Obviously tomorrow for me, mate, obviously the forward line area, we don't know if he'll make any changes, but I think if Idah doesn't play tomorrow, for me personally, I don't think he deserves to start. Like he says, he's performed at Aberdeen. He only completed 5 passes. I looked at some of his data. For me, that's pretty poor, Sean. That obviously tells you that he's not really in the game. So if he doesn't start tomorrow, if it's Johnny Kenny or if it's Yamada, I know Osman played on Monday for the B team, Monday or Tuesday for the B team. I think he scored them pretty well, apparently, for what I heard. So, but I'd imagine Yamada or Kenny, if one of them starts, Sean, it's up to them to take the jersey if they play well, because he doesn't really done much so far in pre-season, or he's not scored in the league games. He's not really started well, so whoever starts, if it is Idah or Kenny tomorrow, Sean, and they play well, it's kind of maybe their jersey to lose, mate.
No, I agree with you, mate, and while he play Idah, he's kind of he's just trying to get. I thought he was. I was one of these guys that thought he was actually. He gave a good return against St Mirren. He was really unlucky. He was unlucky in that game. And people did come down hard on him, but they forget Idah missed some gilt-edged chances and all. So if you're going to shine the spotlight on one, then at least do it on the other one as well. Because they had a similar game. Although Idah looks better on the eye because he does a lot more running. His running power is his strength at times. But I would like to see him go Idah tomorrow. Let him even try and get a goal, get his confidence up. He certainly needs it. But yeah, I would also like to see Shin get a good run out. Maybe even at a full half. Give Idah the first half and give Shin the second half. Something like that. I would also like to see Anamura play. I like looking at that boy. He's got a great vision. And he looks like he's willing to get stuck in as well. So I would like to see him get a run out.
I think. On you go, mate.
No, on you go, mate.
No, I was just going to agree with you in terms of Big Idah. I don't think he deserves to play the game, but it could be a game where he might go and get a hat trick, and then that could be him. It could get him rolling. I could kick him on for the season, mate, because it does seem to lack a bit of confidence at the moment. The manager's been trying to praise him in media and saying in his competition, I think he's trying his best to give him as much as he can. Be yourself, shall be playing football. There's only so much a manager. There's only so many games you can play. There's only so many times you can get that chance to prove yourself in a way. I know he's done well last year when he came in alone, but this year he's probably got to start scoring a bit regularly now at the moment of playing well, because if he doesn't, Kenny will get a chance. Yamada will get a chance. If he signs somebody else, they might get a chance. So, and obviously, Barry, the brothers come in and says, "Hey, big guys, looking forward to the coming days and weeks. Hope the club can get some business done in attacking positions." On Barry's comment there, Shaun, what's your thoughts on Barry's comment there?
Completely agree with him. I do hope they get some business done. I would be more than happy, mate, if we got no more business done in any other position in that park other than the front line. If we just get two wingers in and we don't get anybody else in, I'd be happy with that, mate, because Idah's so versatile. You can put him through the middle. That solves your forward line right away. You've got a strong bench in Idah and Shin, and you've got Idah through the middle, and then you've got your two wingers, left or right. So I would just like to see those wings get filled up, mate. But in terms of Idah, I would play him tomorrow. I think if he probably started the season well and pre-season, got a good run of goals, good run of minutes and goals behind him, I think then you probably would have been looking at resting him tomorrow and giving one of the other guys some game time, Kenny or Shin. But because he's no got off the mark yet, I would definitely be looking to play Idah. Like you said, maybe he gets a hat trick and kicks on his season or a couple of goals. I know in terms of what Barry was saying, let's get some signings in there the next week or so, and let's hope they're good quality, mate.
I'm agreeing with Barry. I'm agreeing with yourself. I'm agreeing with Stephen here. I think that's what I would like: four players, two wingers, a striker, and a backup for KT. Because by the looks of it, Yamada's known the squad the last two games. I know he's always played centre back, so they would count him as a left back cover. I don't know where he fits in the plans. Will him and Osman go on loan with the way it goes? I don't know, but by the looks of it, he's not in the plans at the moment. He might get a game tomorrow. Who knows? For me, Shaun, it's a game where you don't want to go too weak. You still want to be strong, but I would say it's a game where you can introduce maybe some of the players that come in. If it's Osman, if it's Inamura, if it's Yamada, Sinisawa, I'd imagine might play tomorrow. I'd actually play Sinisawa. But that's maybe a game, Shaun, where you might throw in one or two of them to see how they react. Celtic Park, under the lights, cup game, pressure game. Go and see how you are.
I agree, mate. I do agree, and I'm looking at Marco Tilio. If
Yeah, him as well.
if he doesn't get his game tomorrow, when are we ever going to see that guy in a Celtic jersey? At home or away in this league, because tomorrow's a perfect opportunity for him. It's still, a very competitive game, but it's not as competitive as some of the other fixtures we're going to have in the coming season. So as long as you've got a good nucleus of the team, Carl McGregor, Carter Vickers, probably would play Sinisalo in goal. Just he was very, very good for Celtic last season when called upon. So much so that there was even the debate whether Schmeichel should come back in. He played that well. It's going to be interesting, mate. I'm going to be checking that 1 hour slot before kick-off with an eager eye to see what team lines up, because I do think we will see a host of changes, but who are the changes going to be is the question. I think Yang will definitely come back in, albeit he splits opinions. I know JP's a favourite of Yang, but he must even be testing his patience with some of his performances. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what. It's exciting, mate. It's exciting because we're going to get to see. We're going to get to see some guys that haven't had some game time, and like you said, we'll see what they're about. Can they do it at Celtic Park? In front of the fans, in front of the lights, and Yang and Tilly. I would go with Yang and Tilly on the wings, mate. That's a good shout. If you're going to do that, this is the game to do it. And see what, especially Tilio, see what he's made of.
I'm going to agree with you on that, Sean. If there's going to be a game where they're going to get game time, it will be tomorrow. So I'm going to agree with you as well that if guys like Tilio, Yang, maybe Anamura, Osman, they sort of guys, if they don't get any game time tomorrow, then you're probably thinking, right, again, it's no disrespect to Falkirk, it's still a tough game, it's still a cup game, it's still a team in your division. That's a game where I would say some of the guys would get a bit of game time. If they don't get a game time against, if you want to call one of the lesser teams in the league at home, then when are they going to get a game time? When are they going to get minutes? Because you've obviously got Rangers coming up, you've got Livingston coming up, the 2 European games. They might not get a lot of game time in that coming time unless there's injuries, etc. Like you mentioned, maybe Bernardo come in, maybe an injury, etc. So, good point about Sinisalo. I would personally play more of the cup games now. Personally, I think I found that strange last year when I didn't get a lot of cup games because for me, Sean, I'm a believer that your second goalkeeper should play your cup games and then that gives him game time. It keeps him fit, keeps him fresh because Celtic normally go far in the cups and it gives him a bit of game time. So I'm going to agree with you on that. A good point for Francis. He obviously echoes what the manager said about Idah. I'll try and find it if I can get it. That's it. I don't buy this about Idah in his competition. If you can't give you 100% for our club, if you're afraid of losing your place, then you shouldn't be playing for us. Francis, I'm going to wholeheartedly agree with you on this, mate. For me, don't you feel, Sean, but at this present time, I know he's maybe lacking confidence, but surely, given the nod as a number 9, make Kyogo no here, you're not really got a massive threat behind you with your Madan Kenny just yet. If you're not really going to kind of maybe put your stuff at the moment is to show you're the main man, is a competition that Brendan says is he want to bring something in to give them competition, but is that then dismissing Kenny and your Madras competition because maybe they're not up to scratch and either thinks, right, well, I'm number 9 here, I can just kind of maybe just plod along the now and maybe I'll get game time, but I'm agreeing with Francis. Don't know what you think on that one, make a different opinion, but I think if you can't be the main man at the moment, you can't give you, I don't want to say give you it all, but if you can't show up as a main man at the moment, then if somebody else comes in and they do show up, then you'll be on the bench, mate. So this is probably the biggest time for Idah to make sure he's shown a manager that he can be the main man for Celtic.
Aye, Ryan, I agree and I disagree. Like, I do agree in the sense that, players should be like, that position is theirs and, fight for it and whatnot. But, at the end of the day, mate, they're human beings like the rest of us, and we all get complacent, we all get comfortable. If you looked at like in your own job and, if they brought somebody in and this was potentially going to be somebody that could replace you and they're just sitting there, in the shadows, it maybe encourage you to work that wee bit harder and be like, I need to get the finger out here, because if I don't do well here, this guy's right there ready to take my position, and it's going to make you be a wee bit more protective of what you've got. So, but at the same time, I do agree in that you're playing for Celtic. You're going out to 60,000 fans and a huge support, huge fan base, massive club. That's all the motivation you would need to play at a club. But we don't know what goes on inside players' heads and what they're dealing with football, and you see it with every club, mate. So it can't be just as simple as the players should be up for it and motivated. They're playing. Every club has competition, uh, so obviously keeps players sharp, keeps them switched on, keeps them pushing themselves. So it clearly has a factor in keeping people uh, progressing. As if I don't fucking do it on the park, then there's somebody right there ready to replace me. And I don't know what Brendan sees in terms of his comment about getting quality into game competition. Like you say, therefore does he not see Shin and Kenny as that competition? I don't know. I don't know how to read into that sort of. But certainly, if you're looking at Maeda being out in the left, and Kenny is still young, he's still like, he's still learning his role and what's expected of him. So you're really then, if Idah's going to be your main man, really the only guy behind him right now, currently brought in to push into the starting lineup would be Shin. So does Rodgers think there should be more competition in there for those two guys? That's not Kenny. That's possibly what he's looking at.
I'm agreeing with you, Sean, in terms of well, what I took for the comments was again maybe that if he's mentioning that maybe Kenny and Mad are maybe not up to taking his place just yet. Maybe I've read that wrong, but that's the way I kind of took it on, and he's again. I think he will play tomorrow personally, because I think the manager will want to try and get him a goal or two and get a good performance. And listen, it could kickstart him. I hope it. I hope it does. Hope it does, because we want every player to do well. I don't want to sit here and criticise performances and why is he not playing well, why is he doing that, because I don't want to do that. I want to be all happy and what a goal we scored. Listen, yes, here we go. He's going to score 30 goals this year, because I think Mulgrew says that. He expects him to score 30 goals. And well, I think Charlie, if he's going to do that, he's going to start scoring soon. But I do think as well, does he play Dyes? And there you go. There's a topic as well to the rest of viewers and yourself, Sean. Do you play Maeda and risk him getting an injury? Because let's be fair, it's took us a while to get a signing there now. Is it going to, if he pulls a hammy, does he get injured? You're then having to run the risk. Do you need to then rush to bring somebody in for Wednesday, sorry. So do you put him on the bench and only play him if the game's not going the way tomorrow? Or do you play him for the start, get the game done, and then put him on the bench? Because I don't think he needs a game time. He's pretty fit. So that's been my talking point, Sean. Do you play him tomorrow, or do you put him on the bench just in case and see how we go?
Probably the latter, mate. I completely agree. I would not have Maeda in that first team tomorrow. Not one bit. Keep him out of that first team unless he's required. If something isn't going quite right and we need an injection of pace and just presence in that team, and get him in 60 minute mark or whatnot. But no, I would be happy to see them line up with like maybe Yang and Tilio on the wings. Idah through the middle. The thing about Idah and all is like Idah, it's just you're watching somebody that you know has all the attributes to really be successful at Celtic. He's already shown, his quality at Celtic, and like I said, he's came up in big moments. When he first joined for Celtic, Motherwell away, came up with an outstanding header to get us back into that game. Hibs game away, he's produced big moments for Celtic. I just feel like he just needs to get on the score sheet. He just needs to get running. But Maeda, keep him well at that team tomorrow. I wouldn't play him, mate. No, wrap him in cotton wool because we're going to need him for next week.
I'm the same as you, mate. I would only keep him on the bench tomorrow just in case. I wouldn't play him because, like, for me, you're an injury away for being no panicking, but like, right. That means guys that maybe young or either a Forest they will need to step up. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes when you go a bit of call it diversity, there's sometimes that can make people better. It puts pressure on guys. And listen, if we don't get anybody in by this deadline on Tuesday, and then we've got this squad for Wednesday, it's a marker for some of these guys. If it's Forest or Young or Tilly or whoever's going to play, it's a marker. Listen. Sure, cheers, go and step up. You've got 2 big games here to go and step up and help this club towards a massive financial, obviously gaining financially, it's massive, but obviously you've got 8 big games. It's for you to then step up and play against these bigger teams again, put yourself in the international stage and worldwide stage in the Champions League. So again, Sean, it could be one of the ones where if it is Young, if it's Forrest, who's, I know he's 34, he's aging, but it could be one of the ones where if we don't get anybody in, we'll try and look at it in a positive spin that it's going to give him a marker to go on for the rest of the season, say this in my jersey now, and hopefully they can, if we don't get anybody in, obviously you want people in, but if they don't, it gives him a platform to go, right, I know I'm playing here or I'm going to be part of the squad, it's my jersey to go and take it on.
Well, that's it, mate. If they get the opportunity tomorrow, as a competitive game for Celtic, it's no pre-season friendlies. It's a chance to go out in front of the fans and play at the stadium and show us, why they deserve to be in that squad and competing in that squad. But if Maeda gets injured, if Rodgers was to play, could you imagine the backlash? If Rodgers plays Maeda,
I don't want to imagine it.
he gets injured within the first 15 minutes, they'll be baying for blood. So keep Maeda out of that team tomorrow, unless, like you said, he's really, really needed. But the thought of having Yang and Forrest if Maeda gets injured is truly terrifying stuff, mate. We need Maeda in that team. But these boys are on at Celtic Park. Let them see what the fans are like and what they expect. Because regardless of whether we think it's a wee bounce game or it's no a chance to give the boys a run up, the fans at Celtic Park won't be seen like that.
Well, I think my grab's get the feeling now.
Sorry, I'm not trying to give anybody nightmares, but this is what we're looking at right now. If Maeda does get injured, but I make no mistake about it, mate. If first 10-15 minutes these guys are playing wayward passes or they're trying to take people on and losing possession, and the fans will let them know. So whether it's a game that we're expected to roll up and win, the fans will be on their back if they're not liking what they're seeing. So it's a good taster for any of these boys that are sitting on the sideline to come in and see what it's like and what the expectation is at Celtic.
No, I agree with you, mate. I think it's a game tomorrow for some of the guys to put a marker down if they do get in and play, because like we've spoken about, if we don't sign anybody by that deadline on Tuesday, they could be putting the state They're naming had to play on Wednesday, so again, I'm going to agree with you as well. Like guys like Tilio and stuff, if they don't really get any game time tomorrow, then you probably imagine they're maybe going out on loan or going out the door, because I think tomorrow's a game where, again, you don't want to be disrespectful and go too weak. You still want to be in the competition. You still want to win the game. But, like you says, mate, it's a game where maybe some of the guys could obviously get some game time. We will be back on tomorrow, myself, Mark and Alan. But obviously, Sean, because you're not on tomorrow, what is your thoughts on tomorrow's game? Any team lines, any predictions, mate? Fire away if you've got anything in your mind that's kind of on your thinking, mate.
Well, I think I've spoken about this. I've spoken to my brother on that about this. I've been really impressed with Liam Scales going out to left back. In the games that we've required Tierney to go off and Scales to go at left back, I don't think we've looked any less weaker than. I feel like he provides presence there as well. If you've got a corner against and you've got a bit of added height in there, he's good on the ball. I think any games I've watched where Tierney's come off and they've put Scales out to the left, he's looked a solid shipmate. So I do think that's something you probably will see quite a lot throughout the season, unless Inamura obviously really impresses in that left back position, which he did in pre-season. He got a lot of his going like that. This guy looks the part. I know Big JP was a big fan of his, and the football that he watched from. So I do think that's a good option for us in the back line. I do think Trusty will probably start the game. I think, again, he's one of these guys that's kind of competing with Scalesy to get that left centre back position. So, he'll probably start the game. And I'll see what he's, does he rest Carter Vickers or not? Does he go Trusty and Scales? They can play together. They played in one of our most, one of our better wins last season when we drew with Atlanta away from home. So they can play together. So does he drop Carter Vickers? Do we wrap him in cotton wool as well? or do we keep him in the team because he's one of the nucleus of our team? If anything's going to happen at the back, he'll make sure that it's pretty safe and sound. It's a difficult one, mate. I think I would probably play Ralston for the start tomorrow as well. I think this is a game tailor-made for Ralston to come in and play. He's solid, does a shift. You know what you're going to get from him, but you wouldn't feel confident playing Ralston at right back, say against Rangers or in the Champions League. But games like this are tailor-made for him. And then I would like to see McCowan, Engels. I'd like to see them in the team. Bernardo. I don't think Bernardo will start the game, but I would like to see him featured in it. Quite a lot of good chunk of minutes. And I would like to see Tilio and Yang, or possibly Forrest in the left. I think maybe Yang might be a stretch too far. You probably want somebody in the team that's that's experienced, knows what it's like to get these games over the line, albeit they're not, you're not playing a big Champions League, match or whatever that. It's not one of the type of games, but you still want a bit of presence in there and somebody that knows how to play these ties and get them up. So I'd probably think Forrest in the left and I'd put Tilio in the right and go with Big Idah up the top. So it's probably what I would do, mate.
I think in terms of Tilio, mate, if he starts, listen, it's a massive game for him to put himself to maybe stay, because there's obviously chat about him going away to Rapid Vienna. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know if that's going to be one, it'll be the end of the window, but I'd imagine maybe guys like Tilio, even maybe Stephen Welsh, will see going away alone again. Will Dane Murray be here as well? Because we don't know if we're going to sign somebody else. Obviously, we've got Poozy just come in. There's rumours about Trusty maybe going. Listen, there's loads to you could talk about it, especially with Celtic transfers. There's loads about in and out and stuff, and some of young players got on loan as well. But I'm agreeing with you, mate. With Sinisalo, will he play Tierney? I wouldn't play Tierney. Obviously, we'll touch on tomorrow's pod more in detail, but I think Tierney would probably be best to be on the bench. But I know he's had a lot of game time the last few whiles, so again, do you play him 60 minutes, take him off? So we will touch on that tomorrow. But again, Sean, it's brilliant to get your thoughts, mate. Glad to have you back on, mate. Obviously, tomorrow it is a 8:15 kickoff, I think it is on Premier Sports. As a late night game, so stay safe, look after yourself. If you're drinking, don't start too early. If you're staying sober, you've probably made the right choice. Because it will be a late game, so there might be a few stragglers at the end of the game. But if you are going to the game, stay safe. If you're coming from abroad or maybe down south, etc., Ireland, etc., then hope you go home safe. Enjoy your travels. It is a late kick-off, so it will be a bit of travelling as well. So thanks, Stephen. Thanks a lot, mate. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. We will be back on tomorrow about 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Myself, Alan, and Mark will be on tomorrow. All the pre-match chat about Falkirk. Hopefully, we get a transfer to talk about. It'd be ideal. Some positivity. Please like and subscribe. It helps us. It helps us get out there. And it helps us get content like this, and it helps us get people on the podcast as well. We are on all social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as well, and we are on Twitter as well, so you can get us in that as well. But until tomorrow, Sean, take care, mate. Thanks for coming on. Hope you had a good day as well. But the rest of you, take care, guys, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Cheers, guys. Have a good evening.
Take care.
Sets up Larsson here. Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you!
In for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic!
Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!